Hello and welcome to PMI's Uncommon Sense podcast, tools to improve your work forever. I'm Susanna Clark, Managing Partner with PMI, the performance improvement consulting and training firm. Our Uncommon Sense podcast is a 15-minute conversation with our expert consultants. They talk a lot of common sense, although much of it is not common practice. And that's what this podcast is all about. We want you to be inspired to improve your business through learning more about the tools which can help you succeed and grow. Hello and welcome to PMI's podcast, Uncommon Sense, tools to improve your work forever. I'm Susanna Clark and today I'm joined by Des Kelly. We're running a series of episodes all around strategy. Hopefully you will have listened to some of them previously. We've talked about Porter's 5 forces, about PESTLE, about SWOT, and today we're going to be looking at force field. So in the context of strategy, force field sits in the section of understand the world in which we operate. Des, for anyone who hasn't listened to our podcast before, could you just explain for me what the understand the world in which we operate means?
So the world in which we operate, our business operates, two environments. The primary environment, that's the two-way environment where we can have an impact on what our competitors might be doing, for example. They can have an impact upon us. And then there's the macro environment. That's the bigger scale environment, which it basically influences our organization. We really can't influence it. So going out and studying that environment and getting the data, bringing back in, we're going to use Porter's for the primary environment. We're going to use PESTLE for the macro environment. The data that's been generated from those studies has been filtered and analysed through our SWOT analysis. And from the SWOT analysis, we'll end up with a series of theories, possibly of things that we could do, things that we would want to be able to do. And so for that, before we go out and set these strategic objectives, we just need to test whether or not there is it's doable, whether it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
Are there better things?
So it's something about giving you confidence that the list you've come up with is a good list and you should go forward with it.
Yeah, so I think it's taking away from potential strategic objectives the arbitrary nature that sometimes organizations can fall into. And by that, taking away the arbitrary nature of objectives means that we have some form of science or consideration about how we might deliver that objective.
Okay.
And that it's not just a number plucked out of the sky.
So can you tell us a bit about how it works, Des?
Yes. So force field analysis, not a new tool, been around for many decades, originally created by Kurt Lewin. And the force field analysis is a framework for looking at the factors or forces that influence the situation that we're studying at. So it looks at forces that are either driving movement towards an objective, we refer to those as helping forces, or blocking movement towards a potential goal, and we refer to that as hindering forces. And we're using the force field analysis at this point just to help filter out what are the things that we probably should be looking at and what are the things we can leave to one side because maybe there's something better to do.
And so ultimately what we're getting to is to reduce our list, because people often talk about priorities, and priorities is one thing, isn't it? But this feels like this tool is helping us to make sure that the final priority list that we come up with is genuine, is real, we can trust.
Yeah, so I think if we've used our SWOT analysis to emerge theories of things that we can do to respond to either the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities or threats, that will give us, if you like, an objective. It will give us the first sight of objectives that we wish to try and deliver. And so we're using force field analysis to actually, first of all, articulate what is that objective, what should it be? And then, first of all, dealing with the positive forces, the things that could move our organisation to achieving that objective? What are the things that are there? So identifying the positive forces that are working on there. And then on the other side is looking at these hindering forces or the negative forces, the things that would hold us back or push us back. And what are those things? And the purpose of identifying each of those individually is to say, if it's on a positive force, is there anything we can do that would enhance that positive force? And is it doable? And then on the other side, if it's a negative force, is there anything we can do to reduce that negative force? And is it possible? And it could well be that what you find is you've got an objective, but the negative forces you could accommodate them, you could get around them, but it's just too much like hard work at this moment in time. And therefore it might be better just to filter this one out and sort of say, yes, it's an interesting one, but for bang for buck, this is better than that. Only use this as a filtering exercise to gain a little bit of insight into the potential objectives or issue that we are wanting to address with our strategy.
Okay. And any particular tips or helpful guidance for people who are thinking of using this tool?
I think both with the SWOT and the force field analysis, they are what I refer to as a team sport. Both of those tools only work well when you have a balanced group that are allowing the emergence of free thought and free theories to emerge. So brainstorming techniques in a group to allow you to emerge different ideas, different views, different perspectives that are then, and you may need a facilitator for doing these sorts of things, someone who's not within the conversation, to help keep them tidy. Otherwise, they can become simply a tool for recording why you should do something and why I am correct. And that's not what they're there for. They're there to challenge our theories and to make sure that we have at least put them through some form of consideration. So we have started to develop the science behind which an objective can be delivered.
So that's the fourth of our tools in our strategy series. We've been looking specifically at understanding the world in which we operate. Today we talked about force field. Previously we talked about Porter's 5 forces, PESTLE, SWOT. We're going to move on in the next episode and look at establishing the end goals and objectives. So please do join us next time when we will start talking about that and what tools we might use in order to enable and inform us for what those objectives should be. Thank you very much for joining us today. If you need any further information, you can go to our Knowledge Hub on pmi.co.uk. If you've got any questions for Des or for me, then please do email us team@pmi.co.uk. Thank you so much for joining us. You can find more episodes of our Uncommon Sense Tools to Improve Your Work Forever in our Knowledge Hub on our website, or, of course, your favourite podcast platform. And do subscribe so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode, where you'll find links to more content on this topic, which includes webinar recordings, toolbox guides, blogs, and infographics, and our training page. You can always drop us a line on team@pmi.co.uk and arrange a time to have a call to talk about how these tools can help you in your organisation. We'd really love to hear from you.